Next, we'll make sure that we understand how to set up our folders, move folders around, and add our own files inside of Dreamweaver. So when I'm taking a look at my local files, I want to move some things around sometimes, and you might be tempted to do that outside of Dreamweaver. Again, the problem with doing that outside of Dreamweaver is that if I make my own files and if I change some things around, then Dreamweaver can't keep up. If I have things linked already, then you're going to break your links in your files, and you don't want that. So let's take a look at what we can do with our folder structure. Now you'll notice that my folder structure so far doesn't have anything that starts with a capital. So really, let's take a step back and make sure that we understand how to name things first, and then we can add our folder structure. I'm going to move my modified over just a little bit so I can see a little bit better the actual naming of my files. So when we're talking about our naming conventions, we want to make sure and not have anything that starts with a capital. We don't want any spaces because we don't want any special characters. It's going to go ahead and break. If I need something that has two names to it, my file, the first word is going to be lowercase, and I can either put a dash, an underscore, or just make sure that the next word has a capital on it so that I'm not putting any spaces inside of my naming conventions. So let's add a folder, and we'll put some of our files inside of our folder. At the very top, which is your site root, if I do a right click, I have got many options here. I can do a new file, I can do a new folder, I can open something from here, I can edit, copy, paste, delete, rename, I can select checked out files, recently modified, I can get files from my remote server, I can check out a file, I can put a file onto my remote server from here, check in. If I've set up version control, I can get my latest versions, show revisions. Here's my cloaking. I can enable it. I can cloak or uncloak something. I can preview in browser from here as well, which is also helpful. And I can add my design notes. But right now, we're just going to add a new folder. So I'm going to call this folder Pages. Now I've got several files out here in my remote structure, and because they're not all in the same sequence, I need to choose them in a different way than just holding down my Shift key. So first off, I'm going to choose my About page, then I'm going to hold down my Command key on the Mac or my Control key on the PC, and then I'm also going to choose Contact, Join, Meetings, and Photo Walks, and I'm going to drag those inside of that Pages folder. Dreamweaver now lets me know that it's going to update those following pages. So instead of my links being just About or Contact only, now I need Pages in front of it. My index page is also going to update with those files being attached to my index page. I'm going to go ahead and click Update, and then Dreamweaver does all that work for me. So now all of those particular files are inside of my Pages folder. If I want to add a new file from here, let's say that I want to add a new map page so that they can see the locations. Well, let's just call it Locations. I'm going to go ahead and right-click where my Pages folder is, choose New File. The very first part of that will be chosen, and then it will already have the .html. So don't feel the need to re-highlight the whole entire thing. At this point, we can just start typing. So we're going to call that Locations. And I can just hit my enter or return, and now that file is actually named, and it's in the right folder structure to go along with my pages.